this area concerning courting and marriage, the gathering of a man and a woman, a guy and a lady. In days of the past, there have been opportunities where a man and a woman, a guy and a lady can come together, either in union or in marriage, and there is less challenges, difficulties, and issues that would be faced for them to come together and choose and decide if they were going to be with each other, either in union or in marriage, depending if she was a virgin or not a virgin. So that regardless of her position of a virgin or non-virgin, she could be covered and experience not only the responsibilities but also the good things of being in one flesh with that guy or man that she is with. And especially over these recent years, it has been challenged the more so with all these different intrusions, changes of culture, expectation, and the way things have been arranged and set and instructed to cause as many possible to perish, be without a partner in the struggle in many areas because of the evil of those who are selfish and desire to satisfy their selfishness and evil at the expense of many others. So in this, especially the union or the marriage of a melanated man and woman, or melanated guy and lady, especially if they are Hebrew, there is nothing like unto it. The union or the marriage of a Hebrew man, Hebrew woman, or a Hebrew guy, Hebrew lady, and the good things, as well as the connection, especially the dealings of that union or marriage. And especially how, as a cultural example based on Hebrew culture, how others can benefit of the learning, knowledge, and be taught unto them, informed, so that they too can also prosper in their unions or their marriages. Because all too often, there are plenty out there who seek to divide, separate, frustrate, and keep a Hebrew man and woman, or a Hebrew guy and lady, from coming together, becoming one flesh as a unit, a team, to prosper and increase, to be fruitful, multiply, and abound, and wheresoever they reside and go to, especially when they're keeping the law, statutes, commandments. And there are those who seek to separate the two by introducing them, each one individually, to men and women, as well as guys and ladies, and especially males and females from other nations and the such. So the quote-unquote Hamites, as well as those of Japhet, they seek to introduce the Hebrew man and Hebrew woman, as well as the Hebrew guy and Hebrew lady, to someone of another nation, keeping them from experiencing that level of marriage or otherwise union that they being given from the culture as well as from the Father unto each other as well as to others accordingly. So if a Hebrew man or Hebrew woman were to be involved in a quote-unquote polygynous union where the Hebrew man or Hebrew guy was to cover more than one Hebrew woman or Hebrew lady, and especially women or ladies from other nations, then they too can be covered as well too underneath that guy or man because of the proper instruction and so forth. And all too often, because of this hatred of it, there have been other methods applied these two other areas by those who seek to frustrate not only the Hebrew man and woman, and Hebrew guy and lady, but also everyone else too as a consequence. So those who have been used of the other nations to break up, separate, and divide the Hebrew man and woman, as well as the Hebrew guy and lady, are also receiving and experiencing the such evils coming upon them too, and have been over the time as well too, to where unions and marriages for them too is also challenging, and they have to either grow or endure each other through the whole process. So these two other major areas is these dating coaches, gurus, consultants, dating coaches, and such and so forth, social media, and all these influencers out here, where they have the guys and the males, especially trying to entice the men to turn against the women, ladies and females, and especially those turning the ladies, women and females against the men, guys, and males, putting all this venom, evil influence, lies, divination, and all sorts of witchcraft and the dark arts, lies and deception onto them to make it difficult for a guy, a lady, as well as a man and a woman to come together. Even seeking to complicate it so much to the point to make it difficult on every step, point, and area possible. All of that just for them, those individuals who have been trying to affect the minds of many to get a paycheck, money in their pocket, as much of it as possible, especially fame and status, and whatever else they can gain for their benefit, from lying, deceiving, manipulating, and turning people against one another. And second is also evil likewise. Those who claim to operate of a position of status and of authority, and especially those of the area of even misusing the scriptures. So in the premise of religion, including those who operate by religious spirits and so forth, they too also seek to frustrate unions and marriages too, by convincing, persuading, like social media influencers, dating coaches, gurus and such, by mishandling, misinforming people through their information that they give, even quoting from the scriptures to evilly affect the minds, manipulate and control people, even going so far as to push people to become spiritual eunuchs and celibates for the kingdom, when the Father did not command such individuals to become such or do so, especially of their free will too, forcing it against their will. These individuals, especially religious individuals, using the scriptures to manipulate, control, and influence people the wrong kind of way, to keep them from becoming married, and even when they want them to get married, especially within their congregations, assemblies, ministries, or groups, they want them to go through exceedingly far and great measures and measures of expectations, all these landmarks or goals to achieve and reach to amount to obtain unto. And they do not help nor lighten the burden, but they expect them to meet these standards that are exceedingly high, that the Father did not command nor instruct humanity, his creation, to operate by, nor the children and daughters of men, just for them to go into union or marriage. So, for example, to set an exceedingly high financial price to pay for bride price or for the union, as well as to pay for the covering, where they're supposed to have so much money each year to cover that woman or lady, the guy or the man, or even the guy, the man, or the lady or female, to meet certain levels of expectation of character, to do certain things to such a amount and so forth. Otherwise, they will not be given the privilege and opportunity to leave and be into that man's or that guy's covering, jurisdiction, and so forth. And these wicked ministers, trying to use the scriptures and even trying to use their religious spirits and so forth, will try to jump out and say the guys ain't all that, the ladies ain't all that, and they'll try to go so far as to jump ahead and get between them, the guy and the lady, as well as the man and woman, and try to give all these nonsense explanations that come from demons, from fallen angels, to tell them they must have lust issues, that they aren't spiritually mature, that there's something wrong with them, and so forth, just so that they can frustrate them, to control them. And if they're using certain demons, especially demons of the occult, then what they're trying to do is frustrate that man and woman, as well as the guy and lady, to keep them in to keep them in bondage, to keep them frustrated, to make them age, not being married or in union, and then they will be there burning and having to resist their flesh to remain chaste and chastity in innocence and pureness and righteousness of good moral character and standing. They will have them sitting there burning, just staving off and resisting their flesh. Their flesh is so loud and just crying out. And these false ministers want to do that to them, to have them in a negative state of mind and negativity, telling them that they must, try to convince them that they must go through this to endure trials, tests, and tribulations for their growth, keeping them in indefinite dead ends with these promises and claims. And they will turn around and try to speak curses and demons onto them, and they refuse to obey and listen to their dictates and their control and manipulation and so forth. And one of the reasons why they may be doing this is because they may be energy harvesting those individuals, the guy and the lady, the man and the woman, and even try to use them financially, as well as to use them for gain of other means, and if possible, try to do some high levels of wickedness, such as destiny swapping, so they can mess up that intended marriage or union that was supposed to be brought together by the Father, that no man should tear asunder, and even try to use their energy or destinies or whatever they gain from them to go get someone else for their own desire, or even step in the middle and take that guy or that lady, that man or woman, if possible, for their own desire, whether it be a male or female minister operating being used by the devil and the demons. So there are religious people out there using their religious spirits and other type of spirits to try to frustrate and come between the plainness and the long process of a man and a woman, and even a guy and a lady coming together in marriage or in union, when it's supposed to be more plain and straightforward and practical, instead of being difficult, painstaking, and frustrating, and so forth. Even difficult, almost near impossible, for a man and a woman to come together, as well as a guy and a lady to come together. Such individuals who have done such evil to the ordained purpose and the sanctity and the means, even the good things of marriages and unions, they have a high price to pay if they do not repent. First and foremost, for coming against the Hebrew man and the Hebrew woman to come together, as well as the Hebrew guy and the Hebrew lady to come together, either in marriage or in union, to break it up, to send them off into other nations, to frustrate them, make it difficult for them to experience the fullness, the goodness, the benefits, the duties, and everything else that follows of a marriage or a union, especially to have them accursed, to get them in curses, sins, iniquities, and transgressions, and so forth. To use them like pieces of meat, to cause them to be in transgression against the Father, and so forth, as well as those of the other nations, to cause them to err, to struggle as well too. Then those who are also of the agenda to make financial gain and other forms of gain, including status, popularity, services, favors, and so forth, from the gain of falsifying, inciting, and manipulating, influencing, and giving false and bad information to men and women, as well as guys and ladies, such as the quote-unquote blue pill community, the red pill community, the purple pill community, the black pill community, and so forth. Even the alphas, the betas, sigmas, and so forth. Where each union and each marriage has its own dynamic, its own purpose and goal, and it has to be figured out. So instead of giving the wrong information to turn people from something that is supposed to be lived, experienced, and managed properly, they want to get the wrong information and the wrong inspirations to mess it all up so that they can increase themselves off the losses, the pains, injuries, afflictions, and the evil of others, to cause others to suffer for their selfish gains, their selfish desires, as well as those who do not repent and have even caused much evil and trouble as well too, in the perspective areas of using the scriptures, even being religious, and so forth, as well as practicing their authority and such to break up, frustrate, even come between, and try to mess up the marriages and unions of others, especially that of the Hebrew man and woman, and the Hebrew guy and lady. So all these influencers out here, all these agents, all these religious individuals, these false ministers who want to assume the role and position, but put such heavy burdens on you, and even try to cheat you and take what is yours, or what belongs unto you from the Father, and what the Father can give unto you and allot to you. They are in big trouble from trying to take and prevent and destroy and so forth, while coming to the old paths, the knowledge of the old paths and the former ways that were good, reasonable, and practical, even possible. Those ought to be considered, weighed in, and even researched, sought out, and perhaps applied the more so to bring restoration and to bring back what the goodness, benefits, and purposes of a marriage and union is, for its original purpose and its needs and so forth.